solving equations with variables on both sides. It looks something like this. Negative 10p plus 8 equals 7p plus 12. You have a variable on the left and the right of the equal sign. And the question is, which one is it that you're trying to isolate? Here's your steps. Very similar to the steps that you saw in the last lesson over solving equations solving multi-step equations. I lost my train of thought there for a second. First step, like before, is you're going to clean up each side of the equal sign. That may mean the distributive property or combining like terms. If we take a look at the given equation, both sides are cleaned up. 6m is simplified. 4m minus 12 is simplified. So that's not always something that you're going to have to do. It's a if necessary thing that you will want to do. The second step is to reunite the variables. I have an m on each side of the equal sign, and I want to reunite them together. And that means I'm going to move it to the other side with an inverse operation. I'm going to move the 4m over to the other side. And so what I'm asking myself is, what is the inverse of 4m? It's negative 4m. I'm going to subtract 4m from both sides. 6m minus 4m is 2m. And that equals negative 12. Now I'm going to undo what's happening to the variable. The variable is being multiplied by 2, so I'm going to undo that by dividing by 2 on both sides. And I get that m equals negative 6. And we can check this just like we've been doing before. Come down here to do this. Substitute in 6 times negative 6 equals, we're going to see if that's equal to 4 times negative 6 minus 12. 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. Let's see if that's equal to. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. I'm probably in your view, I'm sorry. Minus 12. Negative 36 equals negative 24 minus 12. I'm going to keep, change, and that is negative 36. It checks out. A common question with students when they're dealing with equations that have variables on both sides is, which variable is it that I isolate? Which one should I do? If you think about our previous example, should you have moved the 4m or should you have moved the 6m first? The answer is, it doesn't matter. But a tip for you, fewer negatives will happen by moving the lesser coefficient. Think about what we mean by coefficient. It's that number being multiplied by the variable. And so if you move the lesser coefficient, it makes things a little bit easier. It's not like that's the only way to do it. It's like cross-simplifying when we're multiplying fractions. You don't have to do it that way, but it does make things easier, and I think students want to know the easier way. So I'm going to show you the same equation worked 2 different ways. If I chose to move the negative 4c first, I would add 4c to both sides. That causes this side to cancel. Negative 6 comes down. That equals negative 2 plus 4 is a positive 2c. I'm going to undo multiplying by 2 by dividing by 2 on both sides. And c equals negative 3. Okay. I'm going to work the same equation, but by moving moving 2c first. So if I were to move a negative 2c, I would add 2c. I'm doing the inverse of it. Negative 4c plus 2c is negative 2c minus 6 equals negative 2c plus 2c is 0. So I'm having to undo what's happening to the variable. I'm going to undo that subtracting first by adding 6 to both sides. That cancels. Negative 2c equals 6. And then I can undo multiplying by negative 2 by dividing by negative 2 on both sides. And c equals negative 3. You can see I got the same answer with both methods. But you would probably agree that this one was easier. And how I did that is I chose the lesser coefficient. Negative 4 is less than negative 2. Some guided examples. 5n equals 3n plus 26. So if we use our strategy and we move the lesser coefficient, that means I'm going to move 3n. I'm going to move it by subtracting 3n. That's the inverse of positive 3n. 5n minus 3n is 2n. These cancel, and then I bring down a positive 26. I can undo multiplying by 2 by dividing by 2 on both sides. That cancels. N equals 13. Then that can be checked. I can substitute 13 in for n. 5 times 13 equals 3 times 13 plus 26. Let's see if that equals out. 5 times 13 is 65. 3 times 13 is 39. 39 plus 26 is 65, so it checks out. The other example, 19 plus 7n equals negative 2n plus 37. The lesser coefficient is the negative 2, so I'm going to move it first. I undo the negative 2n by adding 2n to both sides. Somewhere that students get mixed up is where do they put the 2n on both sides. And you'll notice that I've put 2n below the 7n, not the 19. 2n and 19 can't be combined because they're not like terms. That's why I put the negative 3n under this 3n and that negative 3 under that 5n, because those are the like terms. That's what can be combined. So let's come on down here. 19 comes down. 7n plus 2n is 9n equals, those cancel, 37. Now I have to undo adding 19. I'm going to do that by subtracting 19 on both sides. (9n) comes down. 37 minus 19 is 18. Let's see, I'll do red. I'm going to undo multiplying by 9 by dividing by 9 on both sides. And then n equals 2. And again, we can check that. Do that right here. Have to squeeze it in. 19 plus 7 times 2 equals negative 2 times 2 plus 37. 19 plus 7 times 2 is 14. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4 plus 37. 19 plus 14 is 33. And negative 4 plus 37 is 33. So that checked out. Okay, try these practice problems. let's discuss these. Practice A. 5 over 9x equals 4 over 9x plus 9. It looks kind of scary, but it's really not as bad as what you would seem. What it would seem. Look at the coefficients, 5 over 9 and 4 over 9. I chose to move 4 over 9 first because it is a lesser coefficient. It's a positive, so I do the inverse of that, which is the negative. So I subtracted 4 over 9x on both sides. On this side, 5 over 9 minus 4 over 9 is 1 over 9x. And over on this side, these cancel, and so a positive 9 is brought down. That's all that's in blue, what was brought down. What's happening in red is undoing multiplying by 1 over 9. I would do that by dividing by 1 over 9, and to divide by 1 over 9 is the same as multiplying by the whole number 9. This is the multiplicative inverse that you learned in dividing fractions and in solving equations with fractions. So it cancels on the left. X comes down. 9 times 9 is 81. Over here for practice B, 9 plus 5r equals negative 17 minus 8r. I chose to undo the negative 8r to move it first because it is lesser than 5r. And I'm going to undo negative 8 by adding 8r to both sides. So that comes down. The 8 was combined with the 5 because it's the like term. So the 9, the constant, just comes down. Plus 5r plus 8r is 13r equals negative 17. And this side canceled. I have adding 9. I'm going to undo that by subtracting 9 on both sides. I get 13r equals negative 26. Then I'm going to undo multiplying by 13 by dividing on both sides by 13. And negative 26 divided by 13 is negative 2. If you've survived to this point, this is as difficult as it's going to get with equations. Next, we'll be moving on to inequalities, and you'll see that the things that you learned in equations will apply to inequalities.